Tonight is a victory for courageous conservatives across Iowa and all across this great nation.
You have taken the first step of taking back this country.
Tonight, it starts here in Iowa, but it doesn't end here.
Welcome back to America Decides. A lot of history there, recent political history in Iowa. Some of the recent Iowa caucus winners, Republicans who all failed to secure the party's nomination. And with just 33 days now until the state picks their candidates in the caucuses, former President Donald Trump does hold the commanding lead. A new poll has him at 51% in Iowa. Tonight, he is holding an event with voters in Coralville. CBS News campaign reporters Olivia, Rinaldi, and Taurean joined us now from Iowa. I'm sure you're both pretty chilly. Well, maybe Olivia's inside, a little less chilly, but still cold outside in Iowa. We appreciate you braving the elements, braving the crowds. Taurean, we'll begin with you. You've been speaking to some voters. I always love to hear from voters. Tell us what they have to say.
Yeah, what's interesting that Olivia's at that Trump event because all the candidates not named Trump has been reading the writings on the wall and realized they have to court in some way or another those Trump supporters because they make up a large part of this Iowa caucus base. Now, I talked to a few voters who said Vivek Ramaswamy could potentially be their guy. Some just not convinced that now is the time for him. Take a listen to what they had to say.
I'm hoping Vivek will stay toward 28 because he would be my second choice. I would vote for Trump again simply because of his policies.
Right now, I am leaning towards Trump, but I came here today and just to kind of hear a message, but I am very open-minded.
Yeah, diverse group of voters there, all different age ranges. And really, they say that Trump is still, like you said, has a commanding lead in this race, partially because of his name recognition, his policies, and they just don't like the options left in this race.
All eyes are on Iowa, especially now after the New Hampshire governor, Chris Sununu, endorsed former Ambassador Nikki Haley yesterday, giving her a jolt in the Granite State. That puts a lot of pressure on Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to do well in Iowa, try to, if not win, at least come in a strong second. Let's hear what he had to say about that endorsement from Governor Sununu.
Well, unlike some people running, if someone doesn't endorse me, I'm not going to go trash them. Chris is a good guy. He's done a good job. And I'm going to continue to say he's good. He's a really good campaigner. I mean, excellent campaigner. So in that sense, I think it's a benefit for her. But here's the problem. Even a campaigner as good as Chris is not going to be able to paper over Nikki being an establishment candidate.
Olivia, you just heard Governor DeSantis there. He is putting many chips on Iowa as he tries to stay in this race to compete with former President Trump. But clearly the Trump campaign's not ignoring Iowa. Tell us what they're doing on the ground with the candidate and with the campaign as DeSantis really tries to make his mark in that state.
Right, we're here today in Coralville, Iowa, for this Commit to Caucus event that Donald Trump is holding in the state. It's just his fourth event in Iowa in the last 6 weeks. However, I spoke with some campaign officials who told me that their strategy is to move in silence. Even though he's been here only a handful of times, they still feel very confident. They have about 50,000 Commit to Caucus cards here of people who came by and already said that they like him and they're going to show up for Donald Trump on Election Day. Of course, that's a little bit more than what DeSantis has currently in his Commit to Caucus cards, in his level. However, here, Trump feels very comfortable. As you mentioned that Des Moines Register poll, he's at 51%. That's historic levels. There's no Republican candidate or candidate ever, really, who has gotten that amount of support this close to the Iowa caucuses. It's extremely notable. The other notable part of that, though, is that he's turning out new voters. That's what's interesting. Donald Trump is getting first-time likely caucus goers in droves coming out here, Bob.
Olivia, you're standing there at a Trump event. I'm not there on the ground. I'm here in Washington. So tell me about the room. Who are the voters? What are they like? What's the atmosphere there? What does it tell you about the Trump campaign at this moment in Iowa?
Yeah, I will say people have been lining up all day to come to this event. The crowds outside were excited. They were doing their tailgating as they normally do here and having, their trailers, selling T-shirts, having grills out, cooking, enjoying the 36-degree weather that's here. You know, I've seen a few QAnon shirts here in the crowd today, but these people are enthusiastic. They're so excited to turn out for Donald Trump yet again on January 15th. It's just 33 days away. They are excited. They're here for him, and he comes here and he feels that energy. It's palpable. He feels the people in the room yelling, screaming for him, especially when he talks about his trials. That is something that has garnered a lot of support for him here in the state and across the country.
Taurean, in about a minute, what's the concern about Trump among those voters who are not inclined toward him this time, like those voters you spoke to about Vivek Ramaswamy?
Yeah, some voters are concerned by his legal challenges. They believe that he probably won't be able to stay in the race if they do proceed. Others are concerned about his age. Some of the same criticism that we hear about Joe Biden, those same voters tell me that they have the same concerns for Donald Trump, which is why they are looking for a young Republican to potentially lead the party. But still, that consensus around whether or not someone should replace Donald Trump as the party's nominee isn't quite there yet, especially considering he's still leading far ahead in the lead in the polls.
We'll see if anything changes in the coming weeks. Olivia, Rinaldi, and Taurean Small, thank you so much for joining us